Directors of Gilmore Girls, how many did we have over the course of 7 seasons? Which one directed the most? Who directed the first? What was it like when Amy and Dan directed? Which ones were the crew most excited to see direct? And what other projects did some of these directors do? But more importantly, how did we keep the show consistent with each directing style? And did you ever notice a directing style that seemed different than the rest? Touch the screen if you've heard this before. Hi, I'm Valerie Campbell. I was the key set costumer on Gilmore Girls, and I share a lot of fun facts from behind the scenes, which are only possible when you engage with this video when it hits your FYP. So go ahead and follow me over here and on YouTube to catch the ones that don't. We had 45 different directors during the original run of the show, with Dan and Amy alternating on a year in the life. The very first director of Gilmore Girls was Leslie Linka Glatter, who directed the unaired pilot and returned to complete the pilot for the very first episode of the show. Leslie's best known for her work on Homeland and has a new show out called 0 Day. Jamie Babbitt directed 18 episodes of the show, just 3 more than Amy. Fun fact about Jamie, she inspired the title of an episode called But I'm a Gilmore, which is a reference to the first feature film she directed called But I'm a Cheerleader. What was it like on set when Amy directed? Well, first episode she directed ever was season 1, episode 21. That's the one with the daisies. The one thing I remember about that episode was she walked onto set and realized that the number of daisies that she had written in the script did not equate to a very full-looking area. So they had to rush off to the stores. They stopped everything they were doing, decided to shoot something else, while they filled the set with more daisies. Because, yeah, there was way more than 1,000. Having Dan and Amy on set meant that all the questions got answered immediately. No waiting for it to go up the chain of command. Which directors did the crew and actors get the most excited to work with? Jackson and Steve Clancy. Jackson Douglas, one of our actors on the show, got to direct 3 episodes, and Steve Clancy, our camera operator, directed 5. This next director created some of the most interesting shots in Gilmore Girls. Kenny Ortega was responsible for episodes like The Dance Marathon, A Deep Fried Korean Thanksgiving, Friday Night's All Right for Fighting, You Jump, I Jump, Jack. The list goes on and on. He did 12 different episodes, and after Gilmore Girls, he has continued to work nonstop. Kenny Ortega got his start as a choreographer. He even worked with Kelly Bishop on Dirty Dancing. After Gilmore Girls, his career as a director just exploded. He did all of the High School Musical movies, all of the Descendants movies, and he was even the director for the This Is It Michael Jackson documentary. Fun fact about Kenny, he was very close personal friends with Michael Jackson. I remember when he was on set, he'd even call Michael on the phone, and you could actually hear Michael's voice on the other end of the line. It was really fun. We had a lot of fun with Kenny on set, and they always brought him on for the difficult, fun, sweeps, over-the-top episodes. With 45 different directors, how did we keep the show looking consistent throughout the seasons? Well, one thing you might not realize is that Gilmore Girls had a supervising producer that was also a director. This person would direct a few episodes throughout the seasons, and then they would supervise the director that was working on set. First 2 seasons, Michael Cattleman directed 7 episodes, and when he wasn't directing, he was hanging out on set with the actors and director. The second season, Chris Long, who directed 13 episodes of the show from season 2 all the way until season 4, would hang out and do the same. Season 5 and beyond, Lee Charlotte Schimmel was our supervising producer and directed 13 episodes. Those supervising producers were there to make sure that Amy's vision was consistent, but without Amy at the helm during season 7, corners were cut. The rules about what kind of shots we could film were not as strict. Did you notice the difference in the way season 7 looked?